Hey everyone, I'm Ian Douglas, the author of the website techinterview.guide. I do live streams every Sunday and Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern about topics relevant to interview preparation for the tech industry. I occasionally record longer Q&A sessions, and I've started to break those into smaller videos to post. And there'll be information at the end of this video about how to get in contact with me if you have additional questions. Let's get to it. This is an interesting question that came up in, I think it was in the Turing Slack channel. Someone asked, what do you think about negotiating for a 4-day work week? I'd like to do that at some point, perhaps for 80% pay. And so basically what they're saying is I want to work 80% of the time and make 80% pay. And the discussion kind of went into, well, could you work like 4 10-hour days to still fill up your 40-hour work week? And they basically said, well, no, I only want to put in like 8-hour days, but I only want to work 4 of those days and have like a 3-day weekend every weekend. Should I negotiate for that? Every company is going to have different flexibilities on what you can negotiate for. And I think in today's realm where companies really want to try to retain employees, I think they may be a little more open-minded to some things. They may be a little bit resistant, but it also depends on the amount of work and the productivity that they see come out of it. And so you could say like, hey, you know what, I'm thinking about, could I move to a 4-day work week? I would caveat this explanation with don't bring up a reduction in pay to start with. Just bear with me on this experiment, this thought experiment. If you go to your boss and say, hey, I'm thinking about maybe evaluating like a 4-day work week at some point. Could we give this a try next month where I work like 4 days a week instead of 5 days a week and see what you feel about my productivity level if I'm only working 4 days a week instead of 5 days a week, just to give it a try. Even if you've got to give me like that Friday off as PTO or, find out some way of like making up that time later on if it doesn't work out. But if it does work out, is that an arrangement that we could do on an ongoing basis? I think the thing that you need to look at there is you're probably going to have to look at like current work or current research around like the 40-hour work week and why we even have the 40-hour work week in the first place and how much productivity you get out of that. But I think that it's a conversation you need to have with your boss. But you also want to check with your HR team about the minimum number of hours that you have to work in order to keep your benefits. Some companies will say, well, you got to work at least 32 hours a week in order to get benefits or 30 hours a week in order to get benefits. And if you drop below that number of hours, you then become a part-time employee and you lose all your benefits and you may lose other perks and things like that. So definitely check with your HR team, but talk to your boss about it first. And then if you are ready, and your boss is agreeable to this, then you can go talk to the HR team and say like, hey, what would have to happen? But I would highly, highly recommend don't bring up the topic of reducing your pay. Companies would be like, you want me to pay you less? Yeah, I'll pay you less. If that means that they're going to get slightly less productivity out of you, that's kind of like a short-term pain point. But, my job is, my responsibility as a hiring manager, or just as a manager of a team, is to pay you as little as possible. And if you're volunteering for a pay reduction, I'm probably going to take you up on it. So don't take them up on it. If they bring it up, then you can discuss it. But if you just say like, hey, I'd like to work like a 4-hour or a 4-hour work week, that'd be really ideal. Could I work a 4-day work week? Wait for them to bring up the idea of compensation and adjustment before you bring it up. So, but yeah, definitely do your research on it and ask your boss if you can trial it for like a month and just say, hey, for a month, I want to take every Friday off. You evaluate productivity and my output, and I'll talk to you about my level of energy, my level of happiness, and the kinds of things, how I'm spending that extra time. Because if you're happier, you're going to be more productive on the job. And if you're more productive, then maybe you're getting as much work done in those 4 days as you would have in 5 days. So I think it's worth having that conversation with your boss. Hey, thanks for watching. I love helping people out with interview prep, and I hope this video helped you in some way. If you found this Q&A useful, please consider subscribing. You can follow me on Twitch as well for the live stream twice a week. Check out techinterview.guide/streaming for more information. I also have a daily email series that you can subscribe to on the website. There are never any ads, and when you finish the series, I scrub your information out of my database permanently. Finally, if you have a question that you'd like answered on the stream, you can find my contact info on techinterview.guide. I prefer LinkedIn or email. If you leave your question in a YouTube comment, it might take me longer to find it. But I'll see you next time.